He thought it was just a joke, just harmless teasing, a little control, a few public comments here and there. But what he didn't realize was that every time he dismissed her, corrected her, or embarrassed her, he wasn't fixing her. He was slowly pushing her to a moment where she would stop asking to be respected and start demanding it. If you've ever felt dismissed, controlled, or quietly disrespected in your relationship, hit like, subscribe, and stay with me, because this story isn't just about conflict. It's about what happens when one person finally decides they've had enough. They had been married for 8 years. Not the kind of marriage that looked broken from the outside. No screaming fights. No slammed doors. No dramatic ultimatums. Just small things. The kind people overlook. The kind that don't seem like a big deal until they become everything. Her name was Sarah. His name was Daniel. And if you asked anyone, they'd tell you Daniel was the structured one. Organized. Disciplined. Particular. He liked rules. Systems. Standards. And at first, Sarah thought that was a good thing, because in the beginning, it felt like stability. But over time, structure turned into control, and control turned into something quieter, more subtle, something harder to call out. "Are you really going to wear that?" he'd say casually. "Don't you think that's a bit much?" Or worse, "People are going to notice." It wasn't yelling. It wasn't aggressive. It was polished, delivered with a half smile, just enough to make her question herself. The comments didn't stop. They evolved. It became about how she spoke in public. "Don't interrupt people like that." Then how she laughed. "You're a little loud, don't you think?" Then how she handled things at home. "You're overcomplicating it." Every sentence carried the same hidden message. "You're doing it wrong." And every time she tried to push back, Daniel had an answer ready. "You're overreacting. It's not that serious. I'm just trying to help you." Help. That word became a shield. A justification. A way to dismiss her feelings without actually hearing them. At family gatherings, it got worse. He'd correct her in front of others. Little things. Stories she told. Details she remembered. "Actually, that's not what happened." Or, "You're exaggerating." And people would laugh. Lightly. Awkwardly. Not realizing what it felt like on the inside. Because from the outside, it looked harmless. But inside, it chipped away at her. Piece by piece. Until one day, Sarah realized something terrifying. She had started asking for permission. To be herself. Maybe he's right. That thought became her default. Maybe I'm too sensitive. Maybe I do talk too much. Maybe I should be more careful. She replayed conversations in her head at night. Analyzing. Adjusting. Correcting herself before he even had the chance to. And the worst part? She didn't even notice when she stopped sharing things with him. Because what was the point? Every story turned into a correction. Every opinion turned into a debate. Every moment turned into something she got slightly wrong. So she got quieter. Not completely. Just enough. Enough to avoid being corrected. Enough to avoid being embarrassed. Enough to keep the peace. But silence has a cost. And hers was building. Slowly. Quietly. Relentlessly. It happened on a day that was supposed to be fun. A themed event. Something lighthearted. Something meant to bring joy. She had dressed up. Put in effort. Even felt a little excited. For the first time in a while, she wasn't overthinking. She just wanted to enjoy the moment. But the moment didn't last long. Because as soon as Daniel saw her, his expression changed. Not dramatically. Just enough. And then came the comment. In front of everyone. "Are you serious right now?" The room got quiet. Not fully, but enough. People looked. Some pretended not to. And Sarah felt it. That familiar drop in her stomach. He continued. "You always have to take things too far." Too far. That was the phrase that did it. Because suddenly, it wasn't about the outfit, or the moment, or the joke. It was about every time. Every correction. Every dismissal. Every time she made herself smaller just to avoid this exact feeling. And something inside her shifted. Not loudly. Not dramatically. But permanently. That night, the house felt different. Quiet. Heavy. Daniel was in the living room. Scrolling. Relaxed. Like nothing had happened. Sarah stood in the doorway for a moment. Watching him. Not with anger. Not even with sadness. With clarity. She walked in slowly. Sat across from him. He glanced up. "Everything okay?" And for the first time in years, she didn't soften her tone. "No." He paused. Confused. "What do you mean?" She took a breath. Not shaky. Not emotional. Just steady. "You don't listen to me." He frowned. "I do." She shook her head. "No. You hear me. But you don't listen. Silence. The kind that stretches. The kind that forces attention. I'm always wrong to you, she continued. Everything I do, how I talk, how I act, what I wear, you always have something to say. That's not true, he said quickly. I'm just trying to. Help me, she interrupted. Her voice didn't rise, but it landed harder than anything he'd heard before. I don't need your help being myself. That hit, because for the first time, he didn't have an immediate response. I need your respect, she said, and I don't have it. The room felt smaller. You embarrassed me today, she continued, in front of everyone. I was joking. No, she said firmly. You weren't. Silence again. I've spent years adjusting myself to make you comfortable, she said. And I'm done. There it was. Not an argument. Not a threat. A decision. Daniel stared at her. Really stared. And for the first time, he saw something he hadn't noticed before. Distance. Not anger. Not hurt. Distance. How long have you felt like this? He asked quietly. She didn't hesitate. A long time. That answer landed heavier than anything else. Because it meant this wasn't new. It wasn't sudden. It was something he had missed. Ignored. Overlooked. I didn't realize, he started. I know, she said. And somehow, that hurt more. Because she wasn't surprised. Tears filled his eyes. Unexpected. Unfamiliar. I thought I was helping, he said. I know, she repeated. Another silence. But this one, different. Not tense. Not defensive. Real. What do you need from me? He asked. And for the first time in years, he wasn't trying to correct her. He was asking. I need you to stop fixing me, she said. I need you to trust me to exist without your approval. He nodded slowly. I can try. She shook her head gently. No, you can do it. And that was the shift. Not just in him, but in her. Because she wasn't asking anymore. She was expecting. Change didn't happen overnight. It never does. There were moments. Slips. Old habits trying to return. But something had changed. Fundamentally. Daniel caught himself more. Paused before speaking. Listened longer. And Sarah? She stopped shrinking. Stopped over-explaining. Stopped asking for permission to take up space in her own life. Because respect isn't something